Hey guys, Urge1 here. I'm going to be covering neutral in this video. You may have heard this term before if you follow any fighting game. Neutral is what is being played when neither player has a distinct advantage over each other, and both are looking for an opening to be in that advantageous position. There is no set way to play neutral. Different players have different styles. It's the way players express themselves in-game, whether it be the guy who lanes you out or the guy who unga bungas. I'm going to be referencing Llod's Guide to Improvement. Llod is a top level Peach player. He breaks down neutral into 5 layers, starting from where the jabronis play all the way to the top level of melee. Button mashing. The first level is where you'll find low level players. I'm talking about that net play Marth mashing a C-stick. You know who you are. Fuck that guy. This level of neutral is easily countered by whiff punishing. A whiff punish is when you put yourself in a position where you can't get hit by any of your opponent's moves, and you punish them for it. Whiff punish. Hard reads. The second level is a blend of the prior level and hard reads. A hard read is when you predict your opponent's option and you punish them for it. A big thing to note, the opponent can react with the correct option, but doesn't for whatever reason. This can be because of multiple reasons, like lack of knowledge, misinput, or they didn't even consider your option. A hard read relies on your opponent making a mistake and you capitalizing off of it. This works well against players worse than you, but it starts falling off once they react accordingly. Prediction confirmation. The third level is when prediction confirmation comes into play. Prediction confirmation is when you predict your opponent's option, then confirm with a punish. This is not the same as a hard read. A hard read is dependent on your opponent making a mistake. Here's an example of a prediction confirmation. Peach is dash dancing in the middle of battlefield, while the enemy Falco is on the side platform facing away from you. There's a good chance he will drop with Bear. If Peach predicts the back air and positions herself to react, she can punish with a dash attack. In conclusion, Peach predicted Falco's back air and confirmed it with a punish. The higher level of play you reach, the more options you'll have to consider. The downside to this is that with adding more and more options to your list, it will be harder to react to each one. With punish! At the 4th level, we focus on whiff punish. Again, a little recap from the first level. Like I mentioned, whiff punish. At the 4th level, it's harder, obviously, because there are more options to cover. You're not just reading your opponent's shitty option. You're actually predicting and having a list of options in your head. The 3rd and 4th level blend into a spectrum of prediction confirmation and whiff punish. At the base level, you're predicting one option, but the more options you take into consideration, the closer you will to be reaching a whiff punish status. And with more and more options in your list of predictions, it'll be harder to react to each one. Top players like to use non-commitment options like dash dancing or wave dashing because they're playing somewhere on the spectrum. Think of it like you're constantly spacing around your opponent, and you're changing that based on their behavior. This spectrum is constantly moving with the game. PCWP beats the 2nd level, assuming your opponent picks an option that you are ready to react to. MIXUPS. The 5th and final level is where we learn MIXUPS, and where most of top melee is played. A mix-up occurs when both players pick an option that cannot be reacted to. Neither player knows what option the opponent will pick. There is a web of options that beat, lose, or tie with each other. Imagine this scenario. A Marth and Fox are running at each other. The Marth down tilts. The Fox drills. Each player performed the mix-up. You win! Because neither player knew what their opponent would be picking. To master mix-ups, you must understand your character's interactions and why you win or lose certain mix-up interactions. In the document, Llod goes in depth on steps to take in order to understand your character better, but I won't be covering them in this video. That could be a future video. Leave a comment. MIXUPS beat the previous 2 levels because your character has an option to all of your opponent's options in a given situation, including non-commitment options. This is assuming you are playing a viable character. Here's a more complex scenario. If Marth thinks that Falco will dash attack, then he might dash back to prediction confirmation. So Falco decides to keep running at him to the point where Marth cannot react to the dash attack. Now we're in a mix-up situation. Both players need to pick an option that cannot be reacted to. Falco can commit to the overextended dash attack to catch the dash back, or he can grab to catch Marth's shield, or he can wave dash in place. Say Marth decides to dash back. Now Falco gains stage control. In the next neutral interaction, Falco will have an increased number of options to pick from, while Marth will have less options to pick from. So it's like a give or take kind of thing. Apply neutral game. Generally, randomness hard reads level 1 is beaten by PCWP level 3 to 4, and that's beaten by MIXUPS. This isn't set in stone, but you are more likely to win if you prioritize one over the other. Prediction confirmation, WHIFF punish, and MIXUPS give you control over the situation by determining which of your opponent's options you will consider countering, while not letting your opponent react to your own options. One last term I want to briefly cover is distribution of weights. When determining your options in a situation, they all have A likelihood of winning neutral interaction, B, combo starting potential, and C, potential of getting comboed. Determining A needs us to understand timing and spacing, and how they will counter our opponent's options we think they will pick. Determining B is about learning your character's combos under different variables, like stage, percent, positioning, and etc. Determining C is about learning your character's combos. The goal is to maximize A and B while minimizing C. Distribution of weights changes depending on who has advantage in the given situation. Let's say there are 2 foxes at 0% on opposite sides of FD, Final Destination. At this very moment, the distribution of weights is equal on both sides, because they have access to the same set of neutral options. They both have the same risks and benefit for picking each move. Now let's say Fox chain grabs other Fox to 40%, and for some reason they're back on the opposite sides of the stage. Now the distribution of weights is in Fox's favor. Now he has more options like down tilt, dash attack, or up tilt. Meanwhile, other Fox still wants that grab. Another difference is that since Fox won the first interaction, other Fox will keep that in mind for the second neutral interaction. Both Foxes are somewhere on the PCWP spectrum, and will consider more options as the set continues. This is why neutral game is so difficult, because it's influenced by the status of the game and all of the interactions up to that point. You must always consider what level of neutral your opponent is playing. It's a constant struggle of push or pull. Conclusion: neutral game is a big mind game. Your goal is to make an educated guess on what your opponent will do and capitalize off of it. Think of neutral as like a board of red lights. Each time an interaction occurs and you understand why you won or lost that interaction, one of the red lights turns green. The players that improve the most efficiently are the ones that convert their board to green lights the fastest. The higher level of neutral you reach, the more complex it gets, especially in a multifaceted game like Melee. I highly encourage you to read or at least skim the document. I only covered one section in this video. Llod goes further in depth on neutral and steps to take when you're improving. He breaks it down where it's pretty easy to understand as a newer player. There will be a link in the There will be a link in the description down there, right there. If you guys made it this far in the video, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. If there's another topic you want me to cover, leave a comment. Big thanks to my Patreon supporter, Prince of Nepal, my boy. And goodbye. See you later.